And we had voters that were out there that told us they'd never seen judges come out there before. And quite a few different people told us that they had never seen a judge, that they hadn't seen a judge out there in 17 years. So they were actually scared. I had numerous conversations with judges, attorneys. Some of the judges want to know why I was campaigning for the other candidates. One of them was Bill Belk, and got a lot of friction against him from the other candidates, or not all of them, but some of them. Even their wives, I got yelled at by some of the wives. And anyway, then when actually we got the results and we saw that 9 of the candidates were voted in, it made us know that, okay, our efforts did work. Well, we did work. We can get corrupt judges off the bench.
Well, that's excellent. Has your organization, have you got some pretty good numbers? Have you had a lot of people join it?
Yes, we have.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us today on The Real News. We'd like to have you back from time to time to update your activism. I'll give you the last word. Is there anything else you would like to add today?
Just come join the group. This other thing that, I don't know if I said it, but we do, our main goal is to sit in the courtrooms, watch the judges, and report back what's going on. And I advise everybody to do that, because until you sit in their courtrooms and watch them personally, you really don't know what's going on in the courtrooms, because a lot of stuff is not electronically filed, so it's not like you can just go on the internet and look it up. The best way to find out about what your judges is doing is to go in the courtroom, sit in there, and watch them.
Yes, well, I thank you for joining us today. We were joined with Angelique, Landry, nccourtwatch.com, and again, thank you for joining us. We'd like to have you back in from time to time.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Again, today we're not going to be running any commercials. We've got a video that we're going to play here in just a minute, and this is on our website, therealnewsradio.com, featured video 5 if you'd like to see it for yourself. We are going to be beginning at about the 2:06 mark. Now, to give you just a little bit of information before we play this, this is Congressman from Pennsylvania, Paul Korjorski, Democrat, and we have been saying since, well, actually, before the economy collapsed, we were saying it was going to, but we've been saying that it's by design, it's intentional, even though Bush and McCain and I believe even Obama last July, as late as July, was saying the economy was sound. This is proof that the economic collapse was by design. This has gone totally unreported. I urge everyone to take a good listen to this. You can see it on our website. The only person I know of in the media that even touched on this in the mainstream media was Glenn Beck, and I believe that it was either Wednesday or Thursday of this week. He played this very clip. We've had it on the website since last Saturday. We just didn't get to play it last Saturday. So here we go with Paul Korjorski, Congressman from Pennsylvania.
Did that because the secretary, look, I was there when the secretary and the chairman of the Federal Reserve came those days and talked to members of Congress about what was going on. It was about September 15th. Here's the facts, and we don't even need to talk about these things. On Thursday at about 11 o'clock in the morning, the Federal Reserve noticed a tremendous drawdown of money market accounts in the United States to the tune of $550 billion was being drawn out in a matter of an hour or two. The Treasury opened up its window to help. They pumped $105 billion in the system and quickly realized that they could not stem the tide. We were having an electronic run on the banks. They decided to close the operation, close down the money accounts, and announce a guarantee of $250,000 per account so there wouldn't be further panic out there. And that's what actually happened. If they had not done that, their estimation was that by 2 o'clock that afternoon, $5.5 trillion would have been drawn out of the money market system of the United States, would have collapsed the entire economy of the United States, and within 24 hours the world economy would have collapsed. Now, we talked at that time about what would happen if that happened. It would have been the end of our economic system and our political system as we know it. And that's why when they made the point, we've got to act and do things quickly, we did. Now, Secretary Paulson said, let's buy out these subprime mortgages. That's what he came to Congress, but he said, give us latitude and large authority to do many things as we decide necessary, and give us $700 billion to do that. Shortly after we enacted our bill with those very broad powers, the UK came out and said, no, we don't have enough money to buy toxic assets. Instead, we're going to put our money into banks so that their equity grows and they're not bankrupt. And so the UK started that process, and that's true. It was much cheaper to put more money in banks as equity investments than to start buying their bad assets, because it became early determined that we'd probably have to spend $3 or $4 trillion of taxpayers' money to buy these bad assets. And we only had $700 billion. So Paulson made a complete switch, went in and started putting money in buying securities and reinvesting in the banks of the United States. Why? Because if you don't have a banking system, you don't have an economy.
Okay, again, that was Paul Korjorski, Congressman, Democrat from Pennsylvania. An electronic run on the banks of $5.5 billion, $5.5 trillion would have been withdrew by later that day. Total collapse of the U.S. and then the world economy. Who withdrew this $550 billion? Why is there no accountability? Why is there no investigation to who started this economic collapse that, as we have stated here, obviously was done by design?
Within a few hours of practically the entire world's economy just going right down the toilet, folks. I mean, and this can happen again. Look how easily it happened this time. This might have just been a practice run.
The controlled media did not report this. I guess if it hadn't been for this congressman coming forward and saying that he was privy to this kind of information, we would have never known. But
what actually happened on that day?
Are we supposed to believe that just one day trillionaires woke up, oh, you know, I think I'll electronically move billions out of the U.S. economy and see what happens? No, it had to be deliberate. It was by design. And, of course, we're seeing the results of it now in this massive, massive debt that they're throwing at it. And I've heard some accounts, Brian, and you might can validate this, that the $9 trillion that has been thrown at this would pay for everyone's home mortgage in America, bad and good. So a housing crisis...
Sure it would have, absolutely.
A housing crisis doesn't hold water. They blame it on a housing crisis, but how can it be that?
Right. Well, that's what the typical American believes, unfortunately, in between episodes of Friends. This is a interesting item I wanted to bring up because it is time sensitive and we need to take action on it today. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA, has been working for 5 years to force a National Animal Identification System, NAIS, onto American animal owners. The NAIS is designed to identify and track each and every individual livestock and poultry animal owned by family farmers, hobby farmers, homesteaders, and pet owners across the country. The USDA claims that this is a disease tracking program, but has refused to provide any support of its claim. In reality, this will create expensive and time-consuming tagging and reporting requirements for small farms. The requirements are particularly burdensome for those farmers raising sustainable livestock on pasture. Ultimately, this will reduce the availability of grass-fed meats, eggs, and milk. This will give factory confinement farms a loophole through the use of group identification, providing yet another unfair advantage for factory farms, not providing any information to the consumer, and does not improve food safety because the tracking ends with the animal's death. Unbelievable. Replace states' existing well-functioning disease response and brand inspection programs with unproven, expensive, and unreliable systems, impose high costs and government surveillance on every farmer and animal owner for no significant benefits, and will likely force many small producers out of business. Now, we need to take action on this immediately, folks, because the deadline for comments to the USDA is March 16th. And this is from the Organic Consumers Association. You can go to organicconsumers.org, look up some of this, and I mean, we need to do something about this certainly as soon as possible.
That would be good